Let's talk a little bit more about the Horsemen. I mentioned it, that the Horsemen have reformed now in these last few months. And by the end of 95, we see you all come back together again. You're wearing that classic Horseman 90s t-shirt, which is available at fourhorsemanshop.com. How do you like that for a cheap plug? But you guys are all wearing that at the Starrcade event when you come out and attack Savage, which we'll get into. You and Pillman, though, are in the main event of Nitro against Sting and Luger. Sting's going to get the win, but after the match, boom, Flair attacks Luger, Hogan storms the ring, and suddenly, Arn, the Horsemen are right back in the thick of it. And it felt like a shift, dude. It was the Dungeon of Doom. We've been talking so much about them. They've been dominating the screen time with Hulk Hogan, but now the Horsemen are moving back up the card. Do you think that WCW, Eric, and the powers that be, Kevin Sullivan, realized, hey, these guys can work, they can talk, they can make it feel real again?
Well, we could perform at a level where you can move us up and down the card. Nobody would look, if you put us in the main event, as how did those guys get there? We had always been top guys. Bringing Pillman along, there was an interesting character that I'm not sure anybody really figured out for sure. And that was a good addition to the Horsemen. It gave it a different flavor. I think Brian was one of those guys that was so good at what he did, we will never know, was that Brian or was that somebody playing Brian?
Right.
Who knows?
That's when you know that's when a person is really good at what they're doing.
Yeah, when you fool the locker room, or there's at least that doubt that I don't know whether this guy is pulling my leg or is this really him, and which is it?
There's an infamous backstage moment here I wanted to talk to you about and see if you can remember this one. It's you, it's Flair, and it's Pillman, and you guys destroy Paul Orndorff with a spike pile driver on the concrete. It's total classic throwback Horseman style brutality, and you're not just beating a guy up, but you're hurting him. Why was Orndorff the right guy for that moment? Did he pitch the idea for himself? Because he's involved backstage at this time. And do you remember that old school kind of violent attack back then?
I don't remember, other than, I don't remember what the reasoning was.
Yeah, it was good, Arn. It was good.
Other than if I was writing that show, I know he would pull it off. He would do the right thing. He would do it professionally. And he was a huge star. Paul Orndorff was a big deal for a long time. And people seem to forget just what a big deal he really was.
Again, it brings back that serious brutality of the Horsemen and gives you guys an edge again, which we haven't seen in quite a while. And then a week later, you're in the ring with Ric Flair and Brian Pillman, and out come Jimmy Hart and Kevin Sullivan. They call Pillman, ready, a loose cannon, and warn you to keep him under control. How's that for adapting and naming somebody? You fire back with the perfect Horseman line, and you said, quote, "If you go looking for him, you might find me and Flair." Arn, was that the moment designed to stir something up between the Horsemen and the Dungeon, or was that just a fun way to plant tension between the heel factions?
It was the moniker that we had from going back to Jim Crockett Promotions. If you jump on one of us, you jump on all of us. And that was just a reminder that exactly what it means. If you jump on one of us, you jump on all of us.
So you have, you and Rick and Pillman and Benoit, again, very talented. Everybody's intense. It's a new life into the group of the Horsemen. And, at this point, there's a lot of nostalgia with the Horsemen, but these four individuals that made up the Horsemen, man, it just felt fresh, and it felt like a new dawn, a new day for the Four Horsemen. Like I said, you're all wearing, the three of you at the end of the show, matching T-shirts and jeans coming down the ring. You look unified as you were trying to take out Savage, and it felt cool. It was almost like a couple little bit of a sneak peek of what the NWO would end up doing in the black T-shirts and stuff. But man, I tell you what, when I watched back Starrcade and watched that last match, I got that cool vibe feeling from the Horsemen.
Little touch of nostalgia.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it had legs. It could have went on and been pushed harder, obviously. and had, you know, a longer run. But again, it was what it was. We were following orders.